Okay, good morning. Welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun to lean on, starting a new week. Hilchos Kriya Sefer Torah Simon Kuf Mem Aleph 141. In Halacha Beis it says that technically, really, the way it's supposed to be, the people are supposed to be familiar with the Torah. The person who gets the Aliyah is supposed to read from the Torah. Nowadays, we don't have the time to prepare this. People are not so familiar with the Torah, so therefore, generally, the person who gets the Aliyah, he makes the brachas. And there's a Baal Koreh who reads the Sefer Torah. Now, you're supposed to, technically, we learned in the Ma'aril in previous Simanim that even if he remains quiet, the person who makes the bracha, it's okay b'diavad. Could rely on Shomei Ka'ona. Technically, when you're making a bracha b'Sefer Torah, you're making it on the reading of the Sefer Torah, the learning of the Sefer Torah. Reading, if you're not going to read, or with your mouth, you're not even going to repeat the words, so how do you yosei with the bracha? So rely on Shomei Ka'ona b'diavad. What about... But what should you do? Should you say it loud? So the Shulchan Aruch says clearly you shouldn't be two voices saying it because it's going to confuse people. The Gemara says that two kolos lo mishnami, you can't hear, you can't discern. When you have two, you have none because you can't hear even one of them clearly. So what should you do? Should he read along silently? Should he read along silently enough that his ears even don't hear, or that his ears? So the Zohar says he should read along so quietly that even his own ears don't hear. The Ramah says it's okay with the Eved, even if your ears do hear, but the Tzibur shouldn't hear. Now, if the idea of Kriyas HaTorah we know is one of those things that's called Dvarim Shebekdusha. You need 10 men in order to do it. Ain't Davar Shebekdusha, Palchas Ma'asaro. So, if the Kriyas HaTorah is Davar Shebekdusha, right, and who's reading the Torah, right? The Baal Koreh happens to be reading the Torah, but the person who made the bracha is really the Baal Koreh, right? Technically, he's really the Baal Koreh. He's making the brachas. So he's the Baal Koreh. How, even the Shomei Ka'ona, or he's saying along, but he's saying along quietly. According to the Zohar, you're not even supposed to hear your own ears. Certainly, there's not 10 people that are going to hear it. So in what way is there on Shemek Kedusha? How is there on Shemek Kedusha? How do we do this? So it must be that the Shemek Kedusha is not the Kriyas HaTorah itself. It's the brachas you make on the Kriyas HaTorah. Which is interesting to note. It's not the Kriyas HaTorah itself. The Kriyas HaTorah itself is... it's not something a Davar Shebekdusha. Kriyas HaTorah, even though it's learning Torah, right? You can learn Torah, you can learn Chumash, you can Maver Sedra, if you want to do Shai Mikra V'Echat Targum, you can do it by yourself. Even if you take out a Sefer Torah and do it from a Sefer Torah, if you have access to a Sefer Torah, I don't know if that's better for Shai Mikra V'Echat Targum, but if you want to do that, you can do that. But you don't need 10 people over there. When you need 10 people, it's like Baruch Hu, right? You say Baruch Hashem Baruch, right? And saying Baruch Hu and saying the bracha, Asher Baruch Abanim, and the bracha afterwards, that's Dvarim Shebekdusha. That you need 10 people to hear the brachos. That's clear from all the halachos. You need 10 people to hear those brachos. You don't need 10 people to hear the kriya. But since the person made a bracha on Kriyas HaTorah, so he has to at least be Yotze the kriya. So B'diavad, according to Ma'aril Shomei Ka'ona, here he's saying technically it's best to read along. Maybe best to read along according to the Zohar, not here, but at least to read along. But it's clear from this halacha that the idea of Kriyas Torah being Dvarim Shebekdusha is only based on the brachos and not based on the actual Kriyas HaTorah. And I think that's the reason that I've said many times that Kriyas HaTorah is not a chiyuv on each individual. It's a chiyuv on the tzibur because the idea of Kriyas HaTorah is not really the mitzvah over here, right? Dvarim Shebekdusha is really right what's holy, the thing that's holy that we're doing there. Why do we take the whole point we say Kriyas HaTorah is that a person should say a bracha in front of 10 people and then learn the Torah. You can learn it privately. The Torah, to hear the words of the Torah yourself is not a chiyuv on each individual. Maybe it's a chiyuv on a tzibur when they're dominating together. It's feel of the tzibur or a kriya of the tzibur. But the real chiyuv over here is just the brachos. Rosh Hashanah is really the brachos, not the actual Kriyas of Torah. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in the next one.